Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to episode number 114 of Let's Go Racing. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Joined alongside, as always, by Dominic Aragon and Jonathan Fjeld hanging out with us in for David Starr this week. Got a great guest on tap. Going to be joined by the one and only Joseph Wooten from the Steve Miller Band. Some people call him the Space Cowboy. Some call him the Gangster Love. We'll have a great conversation with Joseph when he joins us coming up in a little while from right now. Plus, we'll have a look at the latest headlines from around the sport with our news and notes, and our Ask David segment coming up at the end of the show. We'll answer whatever questions you guys have for Joseph coming up there. Before we get to any of that, though, let's start first with a look back at the weekend that was with a exciting race at Gateway. Kyle Busch getting it done. Dominic, welcome in. Let's start with you. Kyle Busch had the best car, led most of the race, and ultimately gets the job done in overtime there. Really dominant performance from Kyle Busch. And now you look at his 3 wins. He's done it at 3 different types of tracks.
He's done it 3 different types of tracks. Richard Childress Racing is certainly on a resurgence. When he made the leap over, we talked about that a lot on this show. Like Kyle Busch over Tyler Reddick, is it the good move? Time will tell. Well, time is certainly playing out so well right now, Tyler, because you win one race. Okay, it's hard to win at any of NASCAR's top touring series and their levels, but to go on and win at Talladega, and then to go on and win at Gateway like he has, like you said, 3 different tracks. He is leading, him and William Byron at 3 wins apiece are leading the Cup Series filled with the most wins. And this is the first time since 2019 that he has done 3 wins in a season. And it's the 11th time in his career. Tyler, there's something special going on right now. This kind of has like those Mark Martin 2009 Hendrick Motorsports vibes. Like it's a revival of some sort for Kyle Busch. Not that he wasn't here, but he's even better.
Maybe even back to when he joined Joe Gibbs Racing, his first year out, potentially speaking on that front there. Also, looking back at the race, besides just Kyle Busch winning, that was a big deal. But you had the other storyline of Corey LaJoie filling in the 9 car. Kind of a disappointing showing from Corey there. Then Carson Hochevar was in his place in the Spire car, was running really well till he had a mechanical failure there. Dom, what did you make of what we saw on those ends of those 2 things there? Corey LaJoie, this was the biggest race of his career, and it was disappointing because the rest of Hendrick Motorsports ran pretty well.
And you hate to say one race won't make or break you, but you can always go back and look at some drivers' careers and that one race that defines them. And I really hope it's not the Gateway race that defines Corey LaJoie, because we have seen him outrun a lot of the teams that spend a lot more money than Spire Motorsports in that 7 car. But getting the opportunity of a lifetime to this point, filling in for Chase Elliott, and not necessarily grabbing the bull by the horns. Now, granted, Tyler, in his defense, Kyle Larson was off for most of the race, and they did try some different strategies to work towards the front. But Corey LaJoie was non-existent in a Hendrick Motorsports car. You take the New York Yankees of NASCAR, and you have a great opportunity here, and you don't really show what you can do. It leaves my head scratching, at least.
Yeah, and then one more thing from over the weekend as well. Austin Cindric not going to get suspended, and had the situation unfold as it was after getting a little dicey. Dom, did NASCAR make the right call, and was it, in your eyes, different the way NASCAR saw it, comparably speaking to the Chase Elliott thing, where they said that, Cindric, it was hard race, and Chase Elliott was intentional, got the suspension? What'd you think of that exchange between the 2 Austins, between Austin Dillon and Austin Cindric there?
Well, I thought I even take that a step further. Hearing Clint Boyer weigh in on it, driver analyst in the NASCAR on Fox booth, Matt Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin incident happened on Monday. You could just tell, just the excitement. I don't even know if excitement is the right word, but just the inflection in their voice. Hey, this isn't right. This isn't good. And when you saw the Austin Dillon and Austin Cindric incident, you could hear him saying it was more a racing deal, nobody's fault, or just 2 guys racing and running out of real estate. I feel like that carries a lot more weight when you hear the driver say that too. And for Austin Cindric to come out on social media and really defend it and release the data and just have transparency. And he even said it best. It's okay to call my character into question if it's warranted, but it was not in this situation. And yes, Tyler, I think NASCAR did make the right call. I mean, it's going to be hard to police so many things going on, but there are just racing deals, and sometimes two guys do go for that same piece of real estate.
If you're watching the version on YouTube, we got a little video issue with Jonathan, but no worry, you'll see him in a little bit. In the meantime, you get to hear his lovely voice as he joins us right now. Jonathan, what was your kind of thoughts from the weekend, man?
Yeah, unfortunately got a power outage right now, so kind of just rolling with the punches. But yeah, no, the Gateway race, I mean, you had a little bit of everything, whether it was the fill-ins with Carson Osavar filling in for Corey LaJoy, who filled in for Chase Elliott, or, you know, the fiber optic going at the track and causing everybody to go back to 2003 as opposed to 2023 with the way they set up the cars. I mean, it was just a wild and wacky race. We had lightning delays. I think Kyle Busch really showed, though, that even though he's had some struggles, you know, that 8 team is still strong. And Ryan Blaney, again, you know, we've talked about the Fords not really having a whole lot of speed, but Ryan Blaney's found something between the Coca-Cola 600. And I believe I looked on Racing Reference over the last 6 or 7 races, he's spent like 93% of the race inside the top 15. So, I mean, he's stellar right now. Ross Chastain, too. I don't know if you guys brought this up when the power decided to short out, but he just hasn't been himself lately, just ever since everything at Darlington.
Yeah, it's a great point for sure. He's fallen off after the fast start he had there. All right, Dominic, our next guest, has been a part of some incredible music over the years, but is also a new fan to the sport of NASCAR as well. Tell us about Joseph Wooten here.
Man, I'm going to let him do more of the telling, but I'll just give a brief overview of his very, very impressive resume. So Joseph and I go back about 10 years. We did an interview with the website and just kind of kept in touch after that. And come to find out, on top of his duties with the Steve Miller Band and playing with his brothers, the Wooten brothers, and being a published author and getting to do some cool things in the Nashville scene, Joseph had the chance to go to the inaugural Nashville Cup race a couple of years ago. So we're going to get to hear more about that here in a few minutes, plus some of the cool things he's got upcoming this year with the Steve Miller Band and some of those other projects, some of his charity work, some of the motivational speaking events that he does as well. Joseph, thank you so much for joining us this week on Let's Go Racing.
Man, it's my pleasure being here. It's my pleasure to be here.
Man, a lot of fun, a lot to unpack, so much to talk with you about. We can go so many avenues with it, with music and auto racing, but let's start with the music stuff. So
Okay.
you hail from Nashville, and you've been playing keyboard, at least in the Steve Miller Band, for 30 years, but we know your history goes beyond that. Tell us where that love of music began, and just we'll go from there.
Okay, well, I'm one of the Wooten brothers, and I got 4 very talented musical brothers. We grew up playing. My oldest brother Reggie taught me to play when I was 5, and taught my little brother Victor, Victor is they had a Rolling Stone magazine top electric bassist of all time, and he was in the top 10 electric bassist of all time. Taught by my oldest brother. When my oldest brother was just 10, Victor was 2, I was 5. He taught me to play keyboards. There's my brother Rudy, who passed away in 2010, used to blow 2 saxes at once. And then my brother Roy, who's also a 5-time Grammy Award winner with Victor and Bela Fleck and the Flecktones. So when we grew up, we had this family band, the Wooten brothers. We've been playing professionally for just about as long as we can remember. Learned to play at 5 from my oldest brother. By the time I was 8, we opened for War. You know, why can't we be friends? Victor was 5 years old. We were opening for War. A couple years later, we opened for Curtis Mayfield, and kept playing until we eventually got a record deal. And we signed to Arista Records, same time they signed Whitney Houston, same label, same producer. She signed a great deal, and we didn't. But my brother Roy played drums on her debut single, You Give Good Love. And I sang with Whitney on a song on her debut album called Thinking About You. So kept playing. The record deal didn't really work out. Eventually, we sort of one by one migrated to Nashville. I've been in Nashville for 33 years. Yeah, I moved in 1990, September 18th, 1990. I was doing a recording session for a guy that knew that Steve was looking for a keyboard player. So he gave me Steve's information. I did a audition cassette tape, and I got the gig 30 years ago. So that's pretty much that's the short version of my music career. We're getting ready to go back out and do some more touring towards the latter part of this month. And I just got back from Australia with my brothers, and that was fun. We were there for a couple of weeks, playing night after night, seeing that beautiful country and making good music. So the brothers we have some music that we're going to release in the fall. We found some old music that we're going to release along with new music, and it feels good to be busy after being forced to be off for 2 years with COVID. With the not personally with COVID, but with the COVID situation.
You saw a lot of bands do this during the pandemic, where they would throw jam sessions together, upload them to YouTube. Were you guys doing that with the Steve Miller Band, or were you guys able to get together, or have virtual sessions?
Not with the Steve Miller Band. I did some with my brothers. Like there's a club in Nashville called Rudy's Jazz Room, and it's named after my brother Rudy, who used the middle Wooten brother, who used to blow 2 saxes at once. They named it after him, and to help keep that open, we did a fundraiser, online fundraiser for them. We did a Christmas special, that went really well. And then this podcast, everybody was scrambling, trying to stay afloat during COVID, not just in music.
Oh, absolutely. And Tyler, Jonathan, you guys can attest to this too. With the whole country shutting down and NASCAR not racing for 2.5 months, being that first sport back, I think they'll look back at that era in time where all eyes were on the sport. NASCAR returns May 17th after a 2.5 month absence. And those defining moments, you think, like when you think an athlete having a defining game or a race car driver having that defining race, I think you can look big picture on that, Jonathan, and think, that race coming back at Darlington, being the first national sporting event back of any kind in the United States after a 2-month plus hiatus, is one of the defining moments in NASCAR history. And there will be books written about that someday.
Yeah, I remember, well, it was the greatest feeling ever after 2 months being away, grabbing some Chinese food after work and coming home and finally getting relaxed with NASCAR Sunday again. Just that relief. And I imagine, Joseph, as you've been back on the road, you've been hearing from fans, you've been hearing from people, just what a relief it is. I can imagine that's what's going on.
Well, yeah, one thing that I really noticed after being off for so long, because it sounds funny to me, 2.5 months off. We were off for darn near 2 years. One thing that I've really noticed is that the people that come to hear music cherish it a bit more. They come with a bit more enthusiasm because they know what it's like to have that music taken away. So that part of it has been really nice. People that used to come see you all the time and weren't able to come see you for a couple of years now come with extra enthusiasm, and people cherish the live scene a little more than they did before. Sometimes you don't value what you have enough until you have it taken away for a while. And that part of it has been enjoyable. Watching people cherish the music just a little bit more.
Oh yeah, I imagine so. So Joseph, what's your favorite type of scenes to perform in front of? Is it small groups? Is it large venues and concerts? What's your ideal music setting of sorts?
Man, I like it all. I just like making people happy with music, however it happens. Like we just played a lot of rooms in Australia. The rooms weren't arena-sized rooms, but they were filled, and the people were really enjoying it and receiving what we were doing. That was really fun because you could look and you could see their faces. Big arenas are fun too, just because of the numbers and the energy with those numbers. You can't really see faces as well, but they're enjoyable too. They all have their own kind of magic. Whenever you play and people receive it, it's mission accomplished. So I don't really have necessarily a favorite venue. I just like it when it works. Now that being said, Red Rocks is always a special place to play.
Oh yeah.
Denver,
Red, yeah, Red
You got
Rocks.
two Western guys. You're speaking our language.
Yeah, that mean there's certain places. There's the Gorge in a city called George, Washington. Looks like you're playing in front of the Grand Canyon. I played Royal Albert Hall. That was really nice. There's certain iconic venues like the Fillmore West isn't that big, but it's iconic and you can feel its history. That's fun to play. Austin City Limits is fun to play because you know how many people have been there, and the crew behaves themselves like people that have seen everybody. So that's fun. I just like playing. I have a gig in Nashville this Saturday, a little old place, the Nashville Jazz Workshop, and that's going to be fun. As far as I'm concerned, if the gig is not enjoyable, that's less about the gig and more about you. You know, I just feel like if I'm playing in front of people, I'm gonna find a way to have fun.
I love it. And I've seen too, like over the years, especially with the Steve Miller Band side of things, you guys have gotten to play some cross venues. And what I mean by that is after a baseball game, and I believe at Charlotte
Yeah.
Motor Speedway, you guys got to play there for Speed Fest a few years back. So what's
We
that like
sure
to not
did.
only get your fans out, but to get this cross section of fans coming for a sporting event? What's that energy like compared to maybe some of these other standalone events you guys do?
Yeah, the energy is great because a lot of the crowd that comes to see NASCAR, a lot of them are classic rock fans. So it worked in our favor. I got a chance to experience sort of the day of the race vibe and all of the activities that there are going around. I got a chance to go out and shake some hands with some vets because there's veterans out there, Army and different different branches of the service that are out there. So that it's what I enjoy about it. One is playing music, obviously, and the numbers are always good where there's NASCAR. But I also enjoy getting a chance to experience the racing scene because it's not something that I grew up doing. It's not something that I grew up doing, but it's like we were saying before the show. It's another genre, another arena of people at their best. Now they're competing, trying to win, but still, it's those same qualities of focus and hard work and teamwork and dedication, the same stuff that's in music. So it's fun to see those same qualities applied to something else. So whenever we play a racing scenario, it's always fun. One, I get out of my, not, I won't say out of my comfort zone because I'm always comfortable there, but I get out of my usual arena. Being in the racing scene is not where I would normally be. So I get a chance to go and climb in an old racing car, take a picture with a racing car, or what I remember, we played a racing event in Indy. I don't think this was you guys, but I just remember as we're going in, you get a chance to see just how fast these cars are going. So like we're walking in, you hear, "Woo, woo, 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 woo." And it's one thing when you see a car doing a thing and you go, oh man, it's kind of fast. But when you're standing close to it and you see how fast they go by, it's fun, man. It's really fun. And now I get a chance to encounter NASCAR more because I have a cousin who's on the board. My cousin Larry Woodard is on the board of NASCAR. So races come to town. This event that I probably wouldn't have gone to, I get a chance to not just go to, but I get a chance to go to it like in the booth with the other VIPs and sort of, get a chance to get a really good look at the beauty of this sport.
I got to ask you, have you ever gotten the chance to get in one of the cars and either drive or be a passenger?
I have not. Steve Miller has. Steve has. I have not. And I know how good these drivers are. I would do it. I would do it. I'd love to get the feel of it because I've stood there and watched them go by. and get a sense of just how fast these people are moving.
Tyler, we
But
know a guy that might be able to help Joseph with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Also,
Yeah.
too, I know IndyCar also does the 2-seater with Mario Andretti. There you go. Go back to Indy.
Yeah, count me in.
Yeah.
Count me in.
Our buddy David Starr is actually, that's why he's not with us tonight. He's getting ready for a school he's doing this weekend. I'm actually going to hop in a stock car and a drive for the first time myself here in a couple days. So
Oh my goodness.
I'll report back there at Texas Motor Speedway. But
There better be video and pictures and stuff because we're going to definitely include it on next week's show. You got to tell us all about it.
And
you're gonna get to live
onboard
every kid's
camera.
dream.
oh,
Yeah.
definitely. I got to ask you, Joseph. We know the band and everything. You guys are just terrific. I mean, songs that generations listen to. I think all three of us have always have been big fans of what you guys did, and Steve Miller and everybody, with the songs you guys put together. But you personally, what have been kind of your favorite styles, genres, or songs that you've played over the years that maybe it was original stuff you guys did, or just artists or whoever you respected? Who are some of your favorites that come to mind?
Well, I mean, some of my favorites. I started playing back in the late '60s, and so I was always I'm probably the biggest Sly and the Family Stone fan. Like, I love Sly and the Family Stone. My brothers and I saw James Brown in 1970, and later on, about a decade later. So we're giant James Brown fans. But we're jazz fans, we're funk fans, we're R&B fans. I like I got a chance to see Whitney Houston. Like, when Whitney Houston sang her debut single, I was in the studio. I watched her sing it. So I'm a big fan of hers because I got a chance to see her come on the scene and sort of change singing. I'm a big Aretha Franklin fan. I got a chance to play for her when she was getting her like 8th honorary doctorate or something. Here's the thing. When I was in high school, always loved Fly Like an Eagle. Love that song. And it never ceases to make my heart feel good that now I'm the guy that gets a chance to play this song that I loved when I was a kid.
That is so cool. And you get to play, when you guys play it live, correct me if I'm wrong, you get to do kind of a little extended solo there on the keyboard.
I do. I get a chance to do a nice extended solo on that one. And it's, again, super gratifying because I always liked the song anyway. And it's what, I don't know how I got to be the lucky one, but I'm happy that it happened. That gets a chance to play Fly Like an Eagle. My biggest joy is watching a crowd night after night that's been waiting to hear these songs they've been listening to for 40 and 50 years, and to hear the joy that they get when we deliver it. So every time Steve hits that crowd goes nuts. Even though it's the same song, I've played it hundreds of times or maybe thousands, I don't know. It's still refreshingly gratifying each time because you just feel like you're doing what you're born to do and delivering a thing that makes the world just a pinch better. The thing that I really like about music, it's like life is pretty rough, right? It's like people will say we're more divided than we've ever been. We're not more divided than we've ever been, but nobody can argue that the country is divided over things, whether it be, whatever it is. But as soon as the good music comes in, all of that goes out of the window. And it feels so good to be a part of the solution, and not the permanent solution. Like, we'll go back to, there's an election coming. We'll go back to arguing that stuff in a minute. But when the groove is right and we're all listening to music, all that stuff goes out of the window and we start living as we're meant to live, which is like together, enjoying the fact that we're all there. And that's what I really enjoy being a part of.
Yeah. I guess, like, when you talk about favorite songs that you like to play live, you talk about the hits and whatnot, but what's maybe one song that you love to play live that someone wouldn't necessarily think of?
There's a song that Steve has called Shubada Du Mama. And that's fun to play. That's fun to play. But I really do enjoy playing his music. Take the Money and Run, Fly Like an Eagle, Jet Airliner, The Joker. I enjoy all of those. I really do. And some people, the question I get a lot is, do I ever get tired of playing the same songs? And the answer is no, because the same song has a refreshed, great reaction with a whole new audience night after night after night after night. And I play music for people. I don't really play music just for myself. So if I'm thinking about myself, you can go, oh man, here we go, man. Right? If you're only thinking about yourself. But if you're thinking about the audience, here's yet another audience who we've made their day, who we've made their evening better, and who will go home a little bit better than they came out. That is always refreshing, always gratifying.
Well, Tyler, I got to tell you from experience, for my 19th birthday, my mom and dad bought tickets to go see these guys at Route 66 Casino, Legends Theater in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Beyond ecstatic, because I grew up in the wrong era, and the show's about to begin, and you hear the for Jungle Love, and then
Jungle Love, yeah.
That was the opening song. My heart starts racing, and it was just a great way to begin the night. And that had such an impression on me 10 years ago.
Man, that's another fun one to play, and that's another one that song works every time. Right? You hit the little whistle, and then I met you with somebody's island. It's fun, man. It really is. And on that particular one, I hardly play. I just sing with Steve. And it's fun to sing. I met you on somebody's island. Thought you would know me before. Fun, man. It's just fun.
What's your best story about working with Steve and being on the road with him?
One story that I really enjoy, like as music gets to be more automated, right? As auto tune and computers generate the music. I remember playing at the Fillmore West in the Bay Area, and the electricity went off. Now, I've seen the electricity go off on some shows. I won't mention the name, but I saw a show and the electricity went off and the show stopped, right? There was nothing there. So with Steve Miller, there's a lightning storm and a power outage. And this is when Norton Buffalo, the harmonica player, was still in the band. And Steve went and got a guitar, and Norton went and got his harmonica, and somebody went and got a bullhorn. And they went and sat in the middle of the stage, and the audience got pin quiet, drop pin quiet. And Steve Miller and Norton Buffalo entertained the audience with a bullhorn, a guitar, and a harmonica, just singing the blues. And I remember thinking, that's real talent, right? That is, they entertained this audience with real talent, with no power. And I that story is always stuck in my head. We the Steve Miller Band plays, and we're one of the few bands that we don't use any automation to sing vocals. We do every single thing is live, and that part of it is fun.
I love it. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Joseph. As far as the music and everything goes, did you get involved in much songwriting, whether it was for your own or others or for Steve? What about that aspect of things?
Yeah, I'm a songwriter. I write a lot of songs. I haven't written any. I don't have any that's been on Steve's records, because when I joined the band 30 years ago, Steve had just finished the album Wide River. So I didn't get a chance to play on that. I didn't get a chance to present anything on that. And then his next album was a blues album, right? Where he played the blues. He had it's a double album set of Let Your Hair Down and Bingo. I think that came out in 2007. So, but I've written a bunch for myself, and I've written a bunch for my brother Victor. And you know, I think my favorites, maybe one of the favorite songs that I've written is a song called "I Matter." That you know, it's just sort of a song to uh, a self-esteem song. You know, I enjoy it, but you know, I'm a songwriter. I write all the time.
So cool. I remember hearing Sting say this in an interview a while back. Somebody asked him, "Well, how do you get your motivation to write? Where's the right time to write?" And he goes, "There isn't. You might get an idea when you're going to bed, so you have a notepad by you there on the nightstand, or you're eating breakfast, or you're in the studio, or it may be somewhere else. But it can just come to you in the moment. But there's no one or right way or wrong way to write a song."
He's right. He's right about that. It comes all kinds of ways. Every now and then you'll hear somebody say something. You go, "Oh man, that sounds like a song." So you may maybe write it and attach some music around it. Other times you're playing the keyboard and you play something and you go, "Oh man, I like that." You know, that needs some words. So it comes in all different kinds of ways. I've been doing some writing for some plays. There's Vanderbilt University and Fisk University got together and they did a play called one was Gem of the Ocean. This last one was called Sweat. And you know, that's different. Here's a scene, and this scene needs some transition music. So that's another type of creativity. But I enjoy all of it.
Yeah. And you mentioned the song I Matter. That's also the name of your charity, I Matter, You Matter Inc. What do you guys do with that?
Yeah. Well, I Matter, You Matter Inc. It's I Matter, You Matter Inc. started. I started it with my wife Stephanie, but in somewhere around 2010, I used to go to Buffalo, New York a lot and do motivational speaking to high school students, middle school students, every now and then elementary school students, a few colleges. And I had this song that I had written called I Matter. And it seemed to really resonate with these students. So I thought the first thing I'm going to do, um, my wife and I came up with imatteryoumatter.com. And imatteryoumatter.com wound up blossoming into I Matter, You Matter Inc. And what we do, we give scholarships to young people, to deserving young people. We work we do things that try to honor diversity and try to make everybody feel like they're part of what's going on. But we also work a lot with veterans. So I've had the opportunity to do a good deal with vets as part of Operation Song and another company called Creative Vets. And it takes a veteran and lets the veteran tell whatever it is they want to tell about their life. Sometimes there's PTSD, sometimes there's horrific images they have. We let them tell us what they want, and then as a songwriter, we take their song, they take their story, and turn it into a song. I've been able to do that a couple of times, and it's really encouraging to see these veterans who have kind of, as best I can describe it, this film that plays in their head that they can't turn off, and it's fun to have us turn it into a beautiful song, and it sort of takes their story and turns it into something that can soothe them as opposed to something that can torment them. I've been able to do it a couple of times, and that's really gratifying. I got a chance to play for some Gold Star families at the Field of Dreams, where they filmed the movie Field of Dreams.
Oh.
That was fun. I'm scheduled to jump out of an airplane coming soon with the Golden Knights.
Whoa.
So, I figure if I can jump out of an airplane, I can ride in a fast car, right?
There you go. It's that same rush. You're gonna be hitting terminal velocity in either way before you know it.
Indeed. But it's I Matter, You Matter is just a vehicle for me to try to do some good. You know what I mean? It's just a vehicle for us to try to do some good in whatever way that we can do some good.
Let me ask you one more question before we move on here, Joseph. We've heard a little bit of the keyboard as we've gone throughout the interview today. Is there Anything you'd like to play or sing? We're more than open if you'd like to share anything.
Stole my
Well-
question, Tyler.
Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. I want to be in NASCAR, riding in a fast car. I want to be in NASCAR, riding in a fast car, moving so fast, hoping it will last. I want to be in NASCAR, riding in a fast car.
Bravo.
I need that as a ringtone, Tyler.
That might have to be the new theme song for this show.
Hey man, let me know. I'll hook you up.
Hey,
NASCAR, riding in a fast car. Yeah.
Okay,
Just
yeah,
give me
we'll
that
talk after
version.
the show. I like that. That's awesome, man. We need that for
Let
the
me
show.
know, man. Let me know. We'll hook that up.
awesome. I love it. It's fantastic. Joseph, we'll have to stick around. We got some more stuff to get to as we continue here on Let's Go Racing. We'll get to our news and notes segment. Also have our Ask David segment where we'll get to some questions that you guys have coming up at the end of the show. But first, let's begin with the news and notes, the latest happenings from around the sport. Dominic, go ahead and take it away.
So we'll start with Eric Almirola. We knew last year that the driver of the number 10 Smithfield Ford for the Stewart-Haas Racing in the Cup Series was discerning retirement, but decided to waive it off in favor of coming back for the 2023 season. Well, is he at crossroads again? Ford Performance was reporting earlier this week that Eric Almirola may be looking at finishing up his Cup Series career at the end of this year. And Tyler, Jonathan, if that ends up happening, we're looking at a man that had 15 years in the Cup Series as a full-time driver, 3 career wins, made the playoffs a couple of times, finished 5th in points in 2018, and has been a staple at Stewart-Haas Racing, taking over that car from Danica Patrick.
Yeah, certainly so. And Eric Almirola, he's won. You mentioned a few races, had his moments. I think that Talladega win in particular. The sad part for me is the most memorable thing in his career probably was the Xfinity race years ago when he got swapped out for Denny Hamlin, and Denny Hamlin won the race in his own car. But nonetheless, it's been a fun career for Eric Almirola with 15 seasons. It's a long time. Joseph, let me ask you this. A guy like Almirola here, he thought about retiring last year, ended up coming back. Now he's thinking about retiring. We've seen whether it's athletes or musicians, when they're getting close to deciding whether they're hanging up or not, it's a tough call. We've seen so many guys, most recently, a guy like Tom Brady thought they were going to hang it up and come back. That's a tough point to get to.
That's the truth. But it's one of those things that people that don't compete or perform, it's easy for them to not understand. But I remember when the Cleveland Cavaliers they were coached by Tyronn Lue, former point guard for the Lakers. And it was Game 7. This is the year that they came back from 3-1 and beat Golden State. But what I remember was Tyronn Lue said something that I'll always remember. He said that he was giving the team the pep talk, and he said he's going to tell them like his dad told him when he was little. He said that the 2 most important days of your life are the day that you're born and the day that you find out why.
Mm.
And when we play music, or when we race, or when we box, or when we play football, we have that feeling that we're doing what we're born to do. And there's nothing that will replace that. There's nothing that replaces you. Like when I play keyboards, and you're moving the crowd, or you're part of playing the Joker and the crowd is going nuts, or you're playing with your brothers and people are receiving it. There's nothing that will replace that. So I can't even imagine myself retiring. If there was a doctor that told me playing music was was unhealthy. I could see myself going from doctor to doctor until I found one that agreed with me that playing music was good. Um, it's tough. It's tough to walk away from what you know that you're born to do. And that doesn't mean that sometimes it's not time to do it. I just understand how it's hard. And truthfully, who should be able to tell you when it's time to walk away except for you? Right? Who should be able to do that? I mean, think about a Tom Brady, good example. You throw the perfect pass, and 80,000 people go nuts. What are you gonna replace that with? What are you gonna replace that with? The right business deal? I mean, that's good, but it's not the same. So it requires the athlete, the performer, the driver, whomever it is, to be real with themselves of whether they're doing themselves a favor by staying around or not. But it's understandable why it's hard to walk away from
Yeah.
doing what you're born to do.
Yeah, for sure. Jonathan, let me ask you. Sounds like Josh Berry is going to fill the 4 seat. If Almirola steps away from the 10, who do you think hops in that ride?
Well, first, I want to take a step back because, as Joseph brought up, it's hard to step away. And I think the big factor that Almirola cited when he first announced his retirement was his family. And I think he's really struck a balance this season, just being able to bring the kids to the track, being able to let them be more part of his lifestyle. I remember, Dom, you were in the media center, I think, when his kids were in there and were playing around and having fun and all that. They get to be a part of it. And but also, too, you look at how Eric has done this season, and it just hasn't been a good season. I mean, that's the case for Stewart-Haas Racing in general. And when I look at who could possibly replace him, you kind of think about the sponsorship situation. Smithfield absolutely loves Eric Almirola. And it's like, well, who's going to be that driver that's going to come in and fill those shoes? Or is there maybe a driver out there with sponsorship that's going to fill those shoes? And instantly I think of someone like maybe a Harrison Burton. He has the type of funding from a company like Dex, who's very much behind him, has been behind him throughout his racing career. You think about a guy like Zane Smith, who has proven himself, and it has to look good in the eyes of Smithfield. So I think it ultimately comes down to sponsorship. I think those two guys look pretty good right now.
Dominic, I wouldn't rule out a guy that's very familiar with that organization. He won in the Xfinity Series this past week at Portland. Cole Custer may be making a return back to the top with Stewart-Haas there.
Perhaps an audition Saturday with his win at Portland. I even think within that stable and somebody who's running partial cup schedule and has been with Stewart-Haas 2 years in Xfinity, Riley Herbst, with the Herbst money and Las Vegas and Nevada and Southwest gas station chains and the partnership they have with Monster Energy and that business to business deal. Who isn't to say Riley could be in the running for that car as well?
Andy Lally, let's get to him, Dom. Friend of the show, Andy Lally, making a return.
He's making a return to the Cup Series. Andy Lally, the 2011 NASCAR Cup Series Rookie of the Year, as well as a road course ace, is making his first Cup Series race this weekend on the left and right turns of Sonoma Raceway. It was announced earlier this week, and this deal, guys, came together through Twitter and the CEO of Camping World, Marcus Lemonis, who longtime sponsor of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, is partnering with Lally for the 5 remaining road course races with Andy Lally. So Lally having a good opportunity here with the Rookware Racing. And we saw last year that car ran really well to Joey Hand, picking up stage points, running up front. So Andy Lally getting to cherry pick some races and some decent road course equipment.
Yeah,
really glad. Yeah. I'm sorry to jump in, but I just got to say that's my favorite story of the week, just by the way of the tweet that you mentioned, because I know Andy posted that, I think it was May 22nd or 23rd, and right away, Marcus Lemonis, as he does, jumped right on. It's like, let's DM and let's talk about this. So great to see Andy Lally in that car.
Yeah, no question about it. And with that, Joseph, I know you made it out to Nashville. We got to get you to one of these NASCAR road races where they turn right and left. It's a whole different animal, Joseph.
Oh, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. I've enjoyed every moment that I've ever had with NASCAR. I really have.
Yeah. We'll be in Chicago here in a couple of weeks. Jonathan and I will be for the first ever NASCAR street race, which is going to be in downtown Chicago. there. And so that's going to be a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah, that does sound like fun.
But congrats to Andy, and I wish him the best of luck there in that ride. Dominic, news with Denny Hamlin and FedEx.
Yeah, normally we don't talk about sponsorship news because let's be honest, sponsors, dime a dozen, like who do you pick and who do you choose? But this one is of really importance because FedEx has been a longtime partner of Joe Gibbs Racing. They've been Denny Hamlin's primary sponsor for a majority of his Cup Series career, same number, pretty much the same paint schemes. And there was talks of, is FedEx coming back? Is FedEx not coming back? But Adam Stern, dropping one of his usual Stern bombs with the Sports Business Journal, is reporting earlier this month that FedEx and Joe Gibbs Racing are nearing a deal to renew for another year and extend their partnership. FedEx and Joe Gibbs Racing go all the way back to 2005. This has been one of the longest running NASCAR sponsorships between a team and a driver, or a team and organization and a Fortune 500 company at that, Tyler. And FedEx, over the last 6, 7, 8 years, had run about 31 races as the primary sponsor of the 36 events. This year, they've only been 7 of the 14, so it's been a more limited role, but it is nice to see that FedEx is going to be returning likely in 2024. And that makes up the news there with Denny Hamlin. Hamlin and his contract, this could all play into the fact that Hamlin getting another year at Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yeah, and we've heard Denny say that as long as FedEx and Joe Gibbs are there, that he wants to be there with that organization, that he'd like to go out with that group. But if not, then maybe he races for his own team at some point. Joseph, Denny Hamlin and FedEx, been together a long time. In today's world, it's so important, right, to have have people that believe in you, that have been loyal like that. I mean, it's quite the story, these two, how long they've been together here, a corporate partner like FedEx and Denny Hamlin.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that I really enjoy about NASCAR and music, how much of it overlaps. Loyalty of sponsors or loyalty of bandmates. I mean, I've been with Steve Miller for 30 years. Thank goodness he's loyal. Thank goodness he's loyal.
Oh, yeah. Jonathan, as far as Denny Hamlin's future goes with that number 11 car, I think he's being honest when he says he'll be there as long as FedEx is going to be there. I do think that 11 eventually does go to 2311 racing at some point in time, but that might be after Denny's done with his career at that point.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if the 11 would go to 2311. I mean, it'd be a really fitting thought to have that, but I think Denny will race for JGR as long as he can, and especially with that FedEx deal being so tied into JGR as well. And I think there was a lot of anxiety about Denny and FedEx after M&M's left, leaving a champion like Kyle Busch. But honestly, I think someone like Denny Hamlin has performed on a higher level than someone like Kyle Busch has in recent years and really warranted this type of deal. So it's good to see that a sponsor like FedEx is staying committed to the sport. And hey, I don't see any reason why they should quit.
Yeah, for sure. This week at Sonoma, Dominic, tell us about and give us your pick.
Sure. So this will be the 34th installment of NASCAR Cup Series, making the left and right turns in wine country at Sonoma Raceway in Sonoma, California. So the Cup Series did not race there in 2020 because of the pandemic, but they've made their first race in 1989 with Ricky Rudd taking the victory. And you've seen so many past champions, so many great drivers win at the road courses, and so many drivers step in, like we're seeing with Andy Lally come in and try to get the best finish they can for a team that has an opportunity like they do. Now, I think it's worth noting too, Tyler, some of the guys entering, you have 13 past road course winners in the field this Sunday of the 36 starters. Chase Elliott leads the way with 7 different road course wins, but I will note, he has run well at Sonoma. He's run well at all these different places, but we have not seen a Chase Elliott road course victory in quite some time. But I think that gets all erased, Tyler. We're going to see all the headlines from Gateway go away. We're going to see him missing these races, a null point, because Chase Elliott wins at Sonoma on Sunday, gets that first win of 2023, locks into the NASCAR playoffs.
You took my pick. I will go with Chase Elliott too. I think it will be a fantastic story after all the controversy that happened, the suspension that he had last week, and then of course the time that he missed from the snowboarding accident away from the track. I think he makes a statement, gets a win in that 9 card, goes to victory lane. Joseph, give me a name. Who do you like to win on Sunday there at Sonoma?
Oh my goodness! I wish I knew enough names to give you something, but I'll go with you guys. You seem to know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I like it.
Chase Elliott. All right. Jonathan, are we going 4 for 4? Is this going to be a clean sweep?
Oh, I wish I could. I got to be the contrarian in this.
Boo this man. Boo.
Yeah.
Boo.
I know. We got a boo me. I just think William Byron is just on a roll right now. He was good at Coda. I think Sonoma, he's going to pull it through. I got to be the contrarian. Mike Anderson, an employee at KO before, me and Dominic have worked with him. You work in a newsroom, you're working with a bunch of contrarians. I'm one of them. I'll stay with it. William Byron.
Okay. So there you have it. There's our picks for this week. Before we get out of here, time for our Ask David segment. We ask you to submit questions to us on Facebook, Twitter, and by email. Facebook.com/Starr Podcast, Twitter @Starr Podcast, and by email, davidstarpodcast@gmail.com. And our questions this week for Joseph in the inbox. We'll start with the first one is from Alex, and it's for all of us, but we'll let Joseph answer first. What instruments does everyone on the panel play? So Joseph, besides playing keys, what else you play?
I play a little bit of drums. I play a little bit of bass, and I'm a singer.
Nice.
That's pretty much it.
Nice. Dominic, you play a few different instruments, and you were in a band at one point too.
I did. The Garage Pirates. I was a drummer for 8 years. Got to share the stage with my dad. I mean, I'm not going to say we went on like tour or anything like that, but we got regularly scheduled in our hometown of Grants, New Mexico, at the casinos, and had like a classic rock, classic metal kind of sound. We had originals, and it was a lot of fun. We played a couple of Steve Miller songs in our band, so that was a lot of fun.
If you play some classic rock, you play some Steve Miller.
Oh, big time! Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Classic rock, Steve Miller, it's all synonymous. I remember we messed around with the Joker, Jet Airliner. We had a lot of fun with that, Jungle Love. And in fact, my dad and I and Jonathan on this panel, a couple of our buddies were forming a band, and I'm sure Steve Miller songs are going to get added to that set list on the Steve Miller play. But drums are my forte, but I can play the keyboard very poorly. And if you need me to fill in on the bass, it's not going to come out as good as maybe the drum play. And let's not get started with the singing. I let the drums do the singing, Tyler.
There you go.
Joseph, what's that like when people like Dominic say, yeah, we our local band or whatever, we love playing your music? How's that feel as when it's your original songs and someone else, is playing covers like that?
It feels good. It feels good to be relevant. It feels good to be relevant. Some of these songs the Joker just turned 50 years old. I mean, the song was recorded 50 years ago, and Fly Like an Eagle will be 50 in a couple of years. So the fact that those songs are still relevant and you're still making people happy with it feels good. Yeah.
Jonathan, how about you? You got some musical talent, right?
Yeah. So I started out playing guitar about age 14, taught myself how to play, sang along to songs. So I play guitar, a little bit of bass, sing. I could probably not as well as Joseph. I could do a little bit of keyboards. A little bit of everything, and playing around, having some fun. Joseph, I actually have a question for you.
Sure,
Have you ever heard a cover of a Steve Miller Band song that has just blown you away?
Yes, I heard a Neville Brothers cover of Fly Like an Eagle.
Ooh.
That was really cool. That was really good. I've heard some reggae versions of the Joker that have been good too. And there's a like the very early original version of Jet Airliner, which is really cool too. So
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
really good.
Joseph, myself, I'm a drummer at heart. That's my number one instrument. Growing up, I was I was always playing in the worship band at church, and doing that, playing drums, but also keys, bass, and guitar for me, and sing a little bit as well. So
multi-instrumentalist.
Yeah,
he's pretty good. We've gotten to throw some jam sessions down. Tyler's pretty good on the drums. Jonathan's good on the guitar.
Well, when we do that theme song, we might have to get everybody in on it.
Hey, let's do it.
Ooh, the Let's Go Racing Band.
Yeah, man. NASCAR riding in the fast car.
Love
it. and Jonathan, you're going to sing, right?
Yeah, you bet. NASCAR riding in a fast car.
Well, and I got to admit too, guys, when we've been on the road, Jonathan and I have traveled a lot together. So if you guys know us, we keep TRE going along with the other people that just keep this operation running. And a lot of the times, Jonathan and I've had to travel together. And sometimes Jonathan's getting to that shower first in the hotel. And like, oh, crap, because he starts singing and it wakes me up and it wakes everybody up. But you can't be too mad because the singing's pretty good.
Oh, and I remember John Haviland told me one time, he was like, "Hey John, who sings that song?" And I was like, "Red Hot Chili Pepper." He's like, "Keep it that way."
Oh, this is good. Very good show today. One more question from the inbox. This comes from Richard, and Richard wants to know: do you miss touring with Steve?
No, I mean, we're still touring. So
Right. That's
yeah, we did a tour April, May. We just finished maybe about a month ago.
You just saw it, right?
I just we'll be back out again. We'll be back out again towards the end of this month.
Okay.
So Steve is still playing, and he plans on going until the wheels fall off,
Okay, so you've seen enough of Steve. You don't miss him. Okay.
But there's not enough time to miss in between legs of the tour.
I haven't had time to miss him, but it's a fun. I really do enjoy doing it, and the 30 years just went by just that fast.
It really clicks off when you're having a lot of fun, Tyler.
Oh, it is. It is.
Yeah.
That's for certain on that front. So let me ask around the room, what is everybody's favorite Stevie Miller Band song? Like, what is? I'll start with you, Dom. What if you had to choose of all the ones that Steve and Joseph done over the years? What would be your go-to choice?
Man, I probably got to go with Jungle Love. Just that intro and hearing that for the first song, the 19th birthday. That was the best birthday of my life. I'm there with my mom and dad, and we're having a great time at Route 66 Casino. And like, I don't know, it was just like a really, really cool experience. I think that's always going to have a special place in my heart just because of that.
That's a good one.
What about you, Jonathan? What's your favorite?
I love the sort of funky rhythms going on with Swing Town, but once I'm going to be basic here. Fly Like an Eagle is my go-to song when I'm on a plane, especially that outro where like you're just wrapped, especially at night. Like, oh my gosh, like you hear that and you just drift away with that. If you're listening to this podcast and you have not done that, do that next time you're on a plane at night. It's awesome. I love it.
That's a good one.
Tyler, what's yours?
I hate to sound basic, but it's the Joker for me. Like that. No offense, Joseph. Don't take this the wrong way, but that is a very good karaoke song too. I feel like everyone knows it, can get into it.
Yeah, that is absolutely the truth. I think it's so singable. I think that's what makes it apply to just about everybody. We do that song in like the whole house. Some people call me the space cowboy. Yeah, I think the singability of that will make it last forever.
Do you get a lot of people who do the wow, 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 like with their voice?
Some people call me, the whole audience, wow, wow. Yeah. Yeah, and it's fun too because Steve really takes that sound serious. I mean, we'll be in sound check, and he really, you'll hear wow, wow, a bunch of times him getting that just right because, like, because he knows how many people are going to be waiting to hear that thing.
I love it. That's great.
It really is.
Before we go, kind of just around the room, Joseph, we'll start with you. Thanks for joining us, man. Where can people see you on tour and follow with all you got going on, man?
Well, you can, anything that I do, you can go to josephwooten.com, WOOTEN, and follow me there. If you want to know where Steve Miller is going to be, you can get it off my website, or you can go to stevemillerband.com. imatteryoumatter.com if you want to see what's going on with our charity. That's right. And I forgot to mention that I also have a book. Can you see that?
Yes.
It All Matters, Words That I Live By. It's on Amazon. There you go. That's it. It's on Amazon. You can go to Amazon if you want to catch the book there. That's pretty much it. You can, all my music is on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes. You can catch it all there.
Awesome. What's going on in your world the next couple of days, man?
Well, I have a rehearsal tomorrow night because I have a concert at the Nashville Jazz Workshop this Saturday. So I have a rehearsal tomorrow night with my band, Joseph Wooten and the Hands of Soul. I'm doing some more writing for my brothers and I, because we're going to try to release some music in the fall. And that's pretty much it. Getting ready for the next Steve Miller tour. Also, trying to stay in shape, trying to stay healthy, doing a lot of reading, and following you guys. NASCAR and the fast car.
NASCAR and the fast car. I love it. Jonathan, appreciate you being here, jumping in with us this week, man. What's going on in your world the next couple of days, man?
Lots and lots of projects. I know over at KOB4, I got a story coming up on a middle school rocketry team. They competed at a national competition, caught the interest of NASA. So that's gonna be fun to tell their story. On the racing experts, of course, because this is Let's Go Racing. Got some stuff coming up this week. Maybe talk with some people, and of course, Sonoma's coming up this weekend. I believe our own Frank Romero is going to be out there. Old Frank, good guy. So, follow the raceexperts.com. Me on Twitter as well, Jonathan_FJELD. And yeah, we got awesome stuff. So I'm excited.
Dominic, how about you?
Yeah, so I'll be spending now home in Grants, New Mexico. We got all our moving done last week from Santa Fe, so it's nice to be back in hometown, homegrown Grants, New Mexico, and we're along I-40. So it's just more getting projects done around the house, but of course helping with coverage remotely and helping with our guys that's going to be out at Sonoma Raceway. I think Frank's going to love it out there. And yeah, it's just going to be a fun week. And how about you, Tyler?
Getting in that race car, NASCAR fast car, So I'll be doing this weekend with David, teamtexas.com. I'll have some updates on my social media as the Summer of Jones continues this weekend. We'll definitely have a good time, and I'll have updates on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook at Tyler Jones Live. You can find me there. Joseph, once again, our pleasure. Thanks for stopping by and joining us. You're welcome back here anytime, man. What a fantastic story you have, and love your music, man. Can't wait till you come out to Dallas. Love come see the show, man.
Yeah. Take a look at the stevemillerband.com, see when we're coming your way, and contact me and we'll get you in.
Awesome. That sounds great. We'll put the checkered flag out on this edition of Let's Go Racing. As always, subscribe to the show for new episodes out each and every week on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, check us out on social media, facebook.com/Starr Podcast, Twitter at Starr Podcast, and by email, davidstarrpodcast@gmail.com. Let's Go Racing, part of the Studio Soapbox Network, along with this show and the Jones Report, as well as the Coach Bo Knows podcast and more. Check out those shows on all podcast platforms, and we shall see you next week. For Dominic Aragon, David Starr, Joseph Wooten, Jonathan Fjeld, I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks so long. It's been another edition of Let's Go Racing. We'll see you next week.